Thank you all for coming to this press conference. I would like to first begin by saying our hearts and prayers continue to be with those families of those who lost loved ones during the storms over the weekend. And those storms did sweep across the state and also across the South. In addition, our prayers and our thoughts continue to be with the families and individuals who were lost and who we continue to lose to current pandemic, the COVID-19 coronavirus. You know, on Friday, we had 48 cases. Today, we have 62 cases here in the city of Greenville. And so this is real, this is serious, and this is a pandemic that is endangering all of our lives, not only here locally here in the city of Greenville, but across the globe. We are indeed living in unprecedented times. Throughout the daily changes to local, state, and federal mandates to address this pandemic, the constant remains those on the front lines, our healthcare workers and our first responders. Thank you does not convey the depth of the gratitude that we could say to them. So if you see a healthcare worker, if you live with a healthcare worker, if you can get on Facebook and join us to say thank you to these on the front lines, our healthcare workers and our first responders. As elected officials, we too are on the front lines regarding new circumstances and conditions to this pandemic in real time. What may be sufficient on one day may not be sufficient on another day. Another constant therein to this pandemic is evolving change that we receive from local, state, and federal governments to adapt and adjust human behavior and actions to deal with this invisible enemy. Today, I am pleased to announce on a call with Governor Tate Reeves today with mayors across the state of Mississippi, the governor has answered my call. Of course, we did a press conference on Monday, and we asked the governor for bold leadership and definitive guidance to this issue of drive-in faith-based services and parking lot services. The governor today has answered in that call and provided definitive guidance in regards to drive-in service on a call with Mississippi mayors. The governor stated today, Wednesday, April 15, 2020, for the very first time, that drive-in church services where families stay in their cars with windows up are safe. Drive-in services where families stay in their cars with windows up are safe. Given that, in the city of Greenville, we would allow, of course, the council will look at its order entered on April the 7th, the 4-1 order that the council entered, based upon the data that it had at the time. And of course, like I said, all of the decisions that we make are data-driven, but more importantly, based upon state, federal mandates that we receive at the time. And so just a quick recap. On April the 2nd, the governor enters the Mississippi Shelter-in-Place order. On April 3rd, we receive a guideline from the Mississippi Department of Health that says that these COVID-19 cases are specifically linked to church gatherings. And of course, we all have seen across the country of folks who've had church services where pastors themselves have lost their lives and congregants have contracted the disease and transmitted it to 30 to 40 people that go to church gatherings. And so we were very cautious, giving a series of things that we looked at, including the bed space that we have in our hospital, the number of ICU beds that we have, the number of known violations we had with folks doing in-person service over the CDC 10 people guideline, and also folks who were doing drive-in, quite frankly, in the parking lot, but getting out of their cars. And so today, given the definitive guidance from the governor, in the city of Greenville, we will allow drive-in and parking lot services in the city so long as families stay in their cars with windows up, and all state and federal social distancing guidelines and mandates and standards should be adhered to and complied with during this time. On Tuesday, the Greenville City Council will consider this guidance from the governor in full contemplation on what it would do regarding its April 7th order. This order is and supports the declared proclamation that the council entered on March 17, 2020, stating that conditions of extreme peril have arisen in the city of Greenville. Also, in accordance to the council's April 7th order, churches are still strongly encouraged to hold services via Facebook Live, Zoom, free conference call, and any and all other electronic, social media, streaming, telephonic platforms available for the safety and protection of life. Pastors, musicians, media, production teams, and other congregants are allowed in the church building so long as there are no more than 10 people present in accordance to the CDC guidelines. And so, in closing, we want to thank Governor Reeves for his definitive guidance on this issue. We have been asking for this guidance for quite some time, and I've received calls from mayors up and down Mississippi, from northeast Mississippi, from the coast, from the Mississippi Delta, and mayors across this country regarding us standing still, doing the right thing for the sole purpose of saving lives. Thank all of you all for your support, your continued prayers, and we are glad that the governor has now given us definitive guidance on this issue. We'll take questions from the media this time.
Speaking about Tate Reeves, I know he's kind of been wishy-washy lately, so now that he's given a definitive answer, yes, drive-in services are acceptable, what was your reaction when he decided, yes, they're safe, in regards to all the guidelines given by the state health department?
You know, as a husband and father and a devout Christian, when we got the guidance today, my wife and I, of course, has been in heavy prayer regarding the folks and the lives that we have under our mayor administration here in the city limits and boundaries of Greenville. And we were just jumping with joy. You know, the Bible tells us, and God said that the battle is not yours, it's the Lord. And we waited on this guidance, and we prayed for this guidance last night, the night before, even after April 7th, when the council put the order in place. We have been on our knees in the morning, in the noonday, and in the evening, asking for definitive guidance regarding this issue. And we're glad today on April 15th, 8 days later, we got the guidance. I know we had a press conference definitively asking for this guidance. There has been much public dialogue and debate across the country regarding this particular order that the council entered. And you know, God does things that we don't ever know what he's doing at times. And so I see this as another sign of his faith strengthening in our lives. Of course, you heard, Tamara, just like you asked me the question, how wishy-washy the governor has been. But he stated that he was telling pastors not to do these services. He had a press conference where he said that he was going to be at home, and it's best for people to stay at home. And then when they asked the question on some radio shows, he said, I've told folks not to do these services, but we don't want to restrict church services, and we understand that. And by no means does the council order restrict services. It modified them, and it made all of us adapt and adjust our human behavior, because we see that it's only human behavior and actions that have caused the transmission of the disease. If folks don't put their mask on, if folks, don't put hand sanitizer on, if they are not coughing in their sleeves, or they're getting out, they're touching things, those have been the reasons of the transmission. And so, by no means did the council order target churches. Of course, if you look at the executive order 1466 and the governor's executive order 1463, movie theaters, other things are already closed. And so they're already closed, so they're shut down, period. The council's order didn't shut church down. So any notion or any statement about that is a lie and misrepresentation. We did not shut anything down. You still can worship. It's just was a way to adjust our behavior. But now, if you think about it, when you go sit in your car, that's an adjustment to behavior as well. We just asked for definitive guidance, and now the governor has given that. I wait to see what folks would say now, since the governor has been definitive and clear about that. What we would hear, coming from this definitive guidance now regarding people standing in their cars with the windows rolled up, but continue to worship like they do, like we've been doing anyway. I know my church has been going on live and things like that, and Bible study has been telephonically. We get a call-in number. We're still doing Bible study. We have Bible study tonight. But we all have adjusted, given this invisible giant that sees no color, it sees no party, it sees no denomination. And so we want to make sure that, if we listen to God and we listen to Romans, that, we need to obey the laws of the land, especially when we're not at all telling folks to do anything against God. We're just trying to adjust and be smart. There's a thin line between faith and foolishness, but we got to make sure our strength is strong, and we're doing the things we need to do to continue to worship, to continue to assemble. But we have to do things differently under great dangers in the economy right now, or the globe, that we're dealing with this harm called COVID-19.
Yes, a quick question. It's, so I know you told the police officers to stand down Sunday because it was Easter.
Yes.
And so you're going to review this order on Tuesday. It's Wednesday. Just point of clarification. I'm assuming the officers are going to be told to stand down tonight, and then that's for people planning to go to church this afternoon.
People need to go to church and go to Bible study tonight. They can go to church on Thursday, choir practice. They can do all of those things so long as we're adhering to the CDC guidelines, no more than 10. But specifically, Tommy, the governor has now given us clear definitive guidance regarding parking lot and church. That's been the issue.
Yes, sir.
Of course, we've had defiance across the country. From Kentucky to California to Michigan, we've had defiance, of course. And there's been people saying, I'm going in my church, you can't tell me anything, and that's fine and dandy. It exceeds the 10 person rule, even locally. At a church in Holly Springs, we've seen defiance. But what we're trying to give guidance on is the parking lot driving services. That has been the issue here in Greenville. And so even though we had violations of the in-person and we had violations of the driving in parking lot services, the governor has now given definitive guidance. And so we want to make sure we listen to our government, our state leaders, we listen to the president regarding this issue. So we got that clear guidance today on April 15th, this morning on a call with mayors. Yes.
I know there's been a couple lawsuits filed against the city of Greenville, Mississippi Justice Institute, and First Liberty Institute.
Yes.
How is the city and yourself kind of responding to these? Like, what are the next steps with those lawsuits?
That's in litigation, and they have a right. Everyone has a right to file lawsuits. They have access to the courts. And the issue primarily in both lawsuits, in my reading of them, of course, and this is in litigation, so I'm not going to speak too much about it, is the drive-through parking lot service. That's been the issue in that. And they are aware, those attorneys are aware, that there has not been clear guidance. And so we now have clear guidance and bold definitive guidance from the governor. We are saying now in Greenville that people need to go to parking lot services if they so choose, but have the windows up. And we're doing that. And the council will fully look at its order on April 7th, next Tuesday at the regular scheduled council meeting. But like I said in my statement yesterday, we are in a health pandemic, and our ultimate aim is to save, protect lives, and prevent the spread. That's what we're doing. We've been very reasonable, and we have been reasonable, and we will continue to be reasonable and save lives.
Kind of on a separate topic, if you don't mind. I saw the data coming out earlier in the week about African Americans being disproportionately affected. I was wondering, in your seat, have you seen any data as to is that something in genetics of African American, or is it more like the demographics, like maybe like the virus hit urban areas first? Maybe I was wondering if you've heard anything along that data.
Well, I think it's a systematic issue that we have with healthcare and disparities regarding African Americans, whether it's health, whether it's economic development. I think it's a systematic issue regarding disparities with African Americans. So COVID-19 is no different. It's not on the island of its own. And so we have to begin to enact policies from a federal level and a state level and local level, quite frankly, to begin to focus in on these disparities, on this disproportionate negative impact that it's having on African Americans. And in doing that, we can begin to address the issue. COVID-19, it puts a light on a lot of things regarding health disparities. And so here in the Mississippi Delta, some of you well know that African Americans and others are suffering health disparities, diabetes, chronic hypertension, a slew of things. And so we have to be a lot more careful. One governor has reported saying at one point that, the other part of the state catches the cold, the Mississippi Delta catches the flu. Now we could say when the Mississippi catches the because it has a negative impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know our disproportionality, we know the number of African Americans, we know health disparities that we're facing. And so we have to be very vigilant. And more importantly, we have to be active and intentional with the policies that we put in place from federal and state levels to address the disparities in African American communities.
I know you mentioned the conference call you had with the governor and a couple other mayors. Can you quickly summarize just what else you guys spoke about in response to COVID-19?
Yes, we talked about a slew of things, and I've given you all the summary of that call that you all have seen. A lot of issues have come up. This was the main issues that have come up, but a lot of issues have come up on the call time, so we want to make sure that you look at the question and answer on that call. Of course, the president and the municipal league continue to do an outstanding job. We have had I think this will be the 5th call with the governor. And we have, talked about a slew of things from executive order, of course, the order, the governor entered an executive order, and then it was calls with Mississippi mayors to result in the supplement to that order. And I'm quite sure you all know about the supplement. We would distinguish between essential and non-essential. So Mississippi mayors are on the front lines where the rubber meets the road to get things done, particularly to deal with this pandemic. But more importantly, our folks look to us for answers. And so that call was a good call with the governor. It was clear. And we're glad that the governor has given the definitive guidance in that at that time. Yes. It was a good call. I could not be on that call this morning. I had another call. But the summary of the notes and everything of the call came out to give us that answer regarding driving services. And so that question has come up quite some time. But Tamara, you are well aware. You talked about talking out of two sides of your mouth. You saw over the weekend that same type of behavior that folks say. I had pastors calling me here in this community saying, well, the governor's saying don't do any services at all, but then he's staying at home. Do we do services, mayor? So people are asking mayors for clear answers. And if we don't get any definitive guidance and clarity regarding what does it mean to do driving or park lot service, what are we left to do? But do what we can do to protect and save lives.
And now that the church service issue is kind of cleared up, what next steps are the city kind of taking towards COVID-19? We're
going to be doing a slew of things. Of course, at the presser that we did on Monday, Tony, you all heard a lot of issues regarding Walmart and Kroger. Yes. And although they are essential businesses, I know this council will be a leader again across the state and across the globe to begin to address that. We have calls set up. We're not going to wait on the president or the governor to say anything to protect the lives of folks that we have here in the city of Greenville. We got to do what we have to do based on our bed space, based on the number of cases we have. So I think the council will begin to look at that. We have healthcare workers who've called to say that when they get to the grocery stores, nothing is there. This morning and yesterday, I got a call from daycare providers here in the city of Greenville stating that the Department of Health, who give their licenses, stated if you now have more than 10, you will receive a ticket. So some daycares have now shut their doors based upon a call from the Department of Health. And I got that call as the mayor of the city. Now, this is the issue. They were being open to me because some households have a doctor and a nurse that's going to the front lines. What are they doing with their children? Yeah. And so with the daycare workers themselves, and you can't have more than 10, what does it leave us? Where these frontline workers with their children. So that's something that we want to look for. We're looking for guidance in regard for that as well, because it's creating a problem. We need our healthcare workers because they're on the front line of this thing. And now, sadly to say, our healthcare workers are the last people that you see. So now they're on the back line. Because if you got this disease, you see nobody, you die alone. Your family can't come in. And even now there are reports at the funeral. You go to the funeral, people can get the transmission there. So we are going to continue to lead in this effort and not follow.
This may not be exactly in your wheelhouse, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about fishing. Now, I know that there's a county board, and most of the lakes are in the county.
Yes.
I have a million questions. People have asked me a million times.
Yeah.
Now, I personally am a little confused.
Yeah.
I have heard that Lake Ferguson is a federal lake and the city or the state can't close it. Is that accurate?
Well, I do know in one of the orders that the governor did, lakes, rivers, beaches, and all that were closed. And what folks have done here locally is let wildlife and fishery deal with that. The city, of course, you know, the county, that's a county function. The city does not go out into those waterways. And so I would ask county leaders to take the lead, much like we have done the lead regarding park house services on this issue, to take the lead to ask for guidance regarding that. Tell me.
I just had to ask you because a lot of people think that you get to make the call on that.
Yeah, they just need to get it. You know, we've seen when we've taken the lead where it has gotten the city.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: if we continue to have issues, we will continue to take the lead. And God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. We're not going to operate like that, and we're going to continue to lead on this issue because the 34,000 folks that we got to care for, I would rather lead in this way versus on the back end. Folks say, Mayor, we lost this many lives, and you did not.
I want to ask you one more quick question
Yes.
about the. I saw something today about maybe they're going to cancel school and start it at the beginning. The school lunch program. I know there's a school board,
Yes.
but I know you're in contact with them and everything. For those that may be concerned about the school lunch program, can you get back with us at maybe on the Tuesday meeting and let us know if they don't have to worry about how their kids are going to eat?
Yeah, and I know the school board has a special call meeting coming up.
Okay.
And so they can answer some of those questions regarding it. I know our food pantry, we're doing about 200 to 250 meals to our homeless, our veterans, and those in need. In our soup kitchen, we're doing 100 meals for that. Okay. We also will still keep open, Tamara and Tommy, and other media here in the room that are listening remotely, the radio station, WBAD, WESI, for parishioners and pastors who still want to have that avenue for their church persons. You know, I talked about 8 or 9 pastors today saying, Mayor, stand still, stand firm. You are absolutely right. Do what you're doing, protect lives. And we as pastors, we have to be a little bit more smarter to make sure that the people under our shepherdship, our stewardship is making sure that we are doing the right thing. And really following Romans, and what it says, obey the law of the land. Some folks feel that they shouldn't do that. God bless them. But what we have to do is make sure that we begin to still keep every avenue open for churches who want to do parking lot driving services, the Zoom, the Facebook, and other avenues. And so we're working with our faith base and our clergy to make sure we do all of those things necessary to continue to worship, to continue to assemble, to make sure that we exalt God. And when the saints get back together, oh, what a time it's going to be a wonderful time. Oh, man, it's going to be a revival. And I told my pastor, we need to have, as long as we've been shut down, we should have a revival the same in the time to go to church every night and just sing in the name of the Lord. And it's going to be a wonderful time when the saints get back together. Thank you all so much for being here. God bless all of you all. God bless the city of Greenville. God bless every family here in the city, every family in the state, every family across this country, across this world who have lost someone to COVID-19. And let's be smart in this together and make sure we're doing the things to prevent the spread, protect life, save lives, and make sure people are doing what they need to do so we're not transmitting this invisible enemy called COVID-19. God bless all of you. Thank y'all.